The most significant historical event in New Mexico was the Pueblo Revolt of 1680, when the Pueblos successfully drove all of the Spanish colonists out of the state. During the uprising, the first wartime tactic was to burn all of the Catholic churches in retaliation for being forced to convert to Catholicism. San Esteban Church at Acoma Pueblo, seen in this photo, was the only church not destroyed. When the Spanish colonists returned in 1692, they agreed to combine Native American spirituality with Catholicism, making it the first example of a convergence of spirituality in this country. Today, all 19 Indian Pueblos have a Catholic church and a patron saint. The ruins in this photo were of the 18th century church of San Jerónimo at Taos Pueblo. The church was rebuilt in 1726. Today, it's located at the center of the pueblo. The mission church of San Lorenzo at Picarillas Pueblo was built between the years of 1746 and 1769. Soon after, it was destroyed by a group of marauding Comanche Indians. The church was rebuilt in 1776, and through the late 1800s, the area's Spanish-American community also attended San Lorenzo. The San Juan Mission Church served as the Roman Catholic parish for neighboring Spanish communities during the 19th century. The church is on the left of this 1904 photograph, with Our Lady of Lourdes Chapel at the center of the pueblo. This 1881 photograph of the mission church of San Juan Pueblo at Oque-Owingeh was discovered by the Spanish explorer Juan de Oñate. It was named in honor of St. John the Baptist. The mission was one of the first churches destroyed during the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. This 1880 photo of the mission church of St. Clare at Santa Clara Pueblo provides a glimpse of the structures as it was built in 1758. Fray Mariano Rodriguez de Torre constructed the church from the rubble of the pre-Pueblo Revolt church. The church at Santa Clara has gone through many renovations in the last 3 centuries, including the addition of a pitched roof in 1905. The mission church at San Ildefonso Pueblo was also destroyed in 1680, and in 1701, reconstruction of the church began under the guidance of Fray Juan de Togol and was dedicated in 1711. Through the next century, the church underwent several reincarnations. This 1899 photograph is of San Francisco Mission Church of Nambe Pueblo. It was built in the early 18th century and dedicated in 1775. In 1773, the Mission Church of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe at Pohuaque Pueblo was rebuilt by Fray José Llanos. In 1707, after the Pueblo Revolt, Spanish officials revived the Pueblo of Pohuaque by bringing displaced Tewa Indians and people from the Pueblo of Pecos. This photograph shows the ruins of that church. The Mission Church of San Diego at Tesuque Pueblo was also destroyed during the Pueblo Revolt and rebuilt in 1695 under the supervision of Fray José Diaz. In 1745, a new church was built at the pueblo. Jemez and Tesuque Pueblos share the same patron saint. The San Diego Mission Church is pictured in ruins at Jemez Pueblo in 1880. The first church at the Pueblo was built between 1724 and 1726. By 1776, a new church was built 150 yards from the original site. This is the San Diego Mission Church at Jemez Pueblo in 1919. The Mission Church of San Buenaventura at Cochiti Pueblo was built around 1776, with ongoing additions made in 1789 and then again in 1796. In 1949, Fray Angelico Chavez, the first native-born New Mexican Franciscan, created restoration plans for the church with work completed in the 1960s. This photograph of the church at Cochiti Pueblo was taken in 1899. In 1776, materials pieced together from the remains of the Mission Church of the Pueblo of Santo Domingo were used to rebuild the parish building. At the end of the 19th century, the church was rebuilt on higher ground because of flooding. This circa 1880 photograph best represents the early 1776 church building. The Mission Church of Lord St. Philip the Apostle at San Felipe Pueblo was built in 1706, following the reconquest of New Mexico by the Spanish crown in 1692. This photo, also taken in 1899, illustrates the Mission Church at Santa Ana Pueblo that was originally built in 1693. The church was built with the help of carpenters from the Pueblo of Pecos under the supervision of Fray Francisco de Vargas. A convent was added in 1696. The Mission Church of Our Lady of the Assumption at Zia Pueblo had to be rebuilt after its destruction during the Pueblo Revolt. Reconstruction of the church began with Fray Juan Alvarez in 1706 and was completed by Fray Manuel Bermejo in 1750. This photograph of the church was taken in 1899 after undergoing several reconstruction phases. When the Mission Church of San Jose at Laguna Pueblo was built around 1706, it was reported that it had 330 souls as parishioners. A vertical sundial was designed on the south wall of the church, an indication that the Pueblo people integrated their own celestial beliefs into Catholicism. A procession was held in 1889 to honor San Esteban, the patron saint of Acoma Pueblo. The original church was approximately 3,600 square feet and made of massive adobe bricks by the people of Acoma. It was the only church not destroyed during the Pueblo Revolt of 1680. The Mission Church of Nuestra Señora de Guadalupe at Zuni Pueblo as it looked in 1895. When the church was rebuilt from 1699 to 1706, they used material from the original church to reconstruct the mission. By 1776, Zuni was the largest pueblo in New Mexico and was considered a Christian outpost. In 1681, the people of Sandia Pueblo burned the chapel and convent of St. Anthony, built in 1610, in retaliation of Spanish authority. Reconstruction of the church began in 1752 and was completed in 1784. The church was rechristened Nuestra Señora de los Dolores de Sandia. Later, the church was changed back to its first patron saint, Saint Anthony de Padua. This photo of the church was taken in 1899. The mission church of San Agustin at Isleta Pueblo, pictured here between 1880 and 1890, was built around 1613. Reconstruction of the church after the Pueblo Revolt began in 1710, and several phases were finally completed in 1776. The original church was built too close to the Rio Grande, which led to periodic flooding. During a later reconstruction effort in 1959, workers discovered a log coffin that was pushed to the surface by an increasingly high water table along the river. Pathologists confirmed that the remains belonged to Fray Juan José Padilla, the church's priest who died in 1756. A concrete foundation was put in place so Father Padilla could finally rest in peace.